What is going on, everybody? Welcome into another episode. Today, we're talking about the big breaking news dropping in the world of the Arizona Cardinals. Whether you think it's a surprise or not a surprise, we're going to be diving into the announcement by our head coach, Jonathan Gannon, saying that Marquise Hollywood Brown is now headed to the IR and most likely done for the season, because obviously only 2 weeks left in the season and you got to be on the IR for a total of 4 weeks to be eligible to come back. And Marquise Hollywood Brown is headed to the IR starting today. And man, what a thing to talk about today. Now, obviously, I think the biggest thing here to obviously talk about is not the idea that, oh, surprise, right? Surprise factor that Marquise Hollywood Brown is heading to the IR, or the fact that he's, battling an injury. The big question out there is Marquise Hollywood Brown going to be an Arizona Cardinal in 2024, right? Now, if you guys do not know, Marquise Hollywood Brown is actually under contract. This is his contract year, and he was fighting for a contract to either stay with the Cardinals, support some more, I guess some more plays on tape for his free agency endeavors, because honestly, right now I'm seeing the fan base kind of split, or actually maybe not split. There's a lot more Cardinal fans saying, okay, well, good riddance, right? Let's see what he can do, with another team, because I think the time with Marquise Hollywood Brown pertaining to the fan base and how they feel about him is coming to a very, very abrupt end. I think the patience is kind of wearing thin with the fan base. So we're going to dive into, do I feel like he's going to be coming back? And obviously the circumstances that where we're at right now as a Cardinal organization, in terms of our wide receiving core, because it ain't looking so good and it ain't looking so hot. Now, before we get started, big shout out to the people that are currently in the chat right now. We got Jude, we got Cooper, we got CL, we got Cards, got Curse. What's up, everybody? Cards fan, I see you there as well. You guys can definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video. Make sure you let everybody else know that we are live right now. Smack it up, do it for the algorithm. And obviously, big shout out here to the sponsors of the video, Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code AZSF today and get yourself a initial deposit match up to $100 when you download the Underdog Fantasy app. And on top of that, we also got Foco as well, a huge sponsor of this channel as well. Check everything out in the description below. All right, let's talk about it, everybody. Let's dive into the Marquise Hollywood Brown, obviously, news. Now, Marquise has been dealing with an injury for quite some time, right? It almost kind of feels like weeks and heck, maybe even months, right? But when Kyler Murray has came back, there hasn't been much of a connection that we thought we were going to see with the whole Marquise Hollywood Brown is Kyler Murray's boy. Once they're both on the field healthy with each other, it's going to be explosions. It's going to be great, right? We've heard all the narratives out there, and it never translated at all. And even last year when we saw them for the brief amount of time that we saw them, it just wasn't to the point where I thought this was going to be the next best connection out there, right? I never felt that way when Marquise Hollywood Brown was here. I never felt like he was the number one wide receiver for the Cardinals. I never thought he was a contested guy that was going to jump up, jump ball type guy, because he's not that guy, right? He's that speedy wide receiver. And I think that the Baltimore Ravens literally, I'm not going to say swiped us, but they probably won that trade. I'm not going to lie to you. Why we got rid of a first round pick for Marquise Hollywood Brown, I'm still scratching my head for right now. At that time, I was like, okay, right, I guess it is what it is. This is Kyler Murray's guy. I mean, it is what it is. But this move was obviously made to save face with Kyler Murray. There was a lot of drama happening with Kyler Murray, and we ended up bringing his guy in, and I think that kind of made everything better, right? At least at the eyes of Steve Keim and the former front office for the Cardinals. But it just never transpired to anything beautiful. It never transpired to anything that Cardinal fans can feel warm and fuzzy inside at all. Now, I've never said anything personally about Marquise Hollywood Brown, personally to him, right? Or about him. But I think at the end of the day here, ladies and gentlemen, this is definitely something is not shocking to me, because he was battling an injury. I think what's most important right now for Marquise is that he needs to get fully healthy and worry about his free agency, right? We need to try to see if we can get the next big bag, because I don't think it's going to be here with the Cardinals. I truly, truly, truly don't think it's going to be here with the Arizona Cardinals. And why should it be, right? Marquise, now, bless his heart, honestly, and I've been saying this multiple times, never said any ill about Marquise Hollywood Brown, but he's only had one 1,000-yard season in his career, just one. and that was with the Baltimore Ravens. And that was back in 2021. Everything before and after is sub 1,000. And even this year, man, just mediocre numbers all around. Now, granted, yes, you can't blame somebody that's injured, but also you're only as, what's the word? You're only as valuable as if you're able to be on the field, right? And Marquise Hollywood Brown has not been healthy this year. It's very, very unfortunate. But actually, at the end of the day, Marquise, for this year, he's going to end the season off with 51 receptions, 574 yards, 4 touchdowns, and averages about 11.3 yards a catch. That's not number one wide receiving money. It really ain't at the end of the day. And I really, really hope the Arizona Cardinals really take a good hard look at, do we keep Marquise? To me, if I was Monty Ossenfort, I would say no, unless it's an absolute team-friendly deal. An absolute team-friendly deal where the Arizona Cardinals can sleep at night, have a nice sleep. I wouldn't pay Marquise Hollywood Brown $17-18 million. I wouldn't. I absolutely wouldn't. If he gives us a team-friendly deal, a prove-it one-year deal to play with this guy Kyler Murray for one more year, then okay, that might be something where I can consider, right, as a Cardinal fan. But right now, I can't justify it. I can't justify it. Now, would you ask yourself, well, why didn't he play these last 2 games? I just said it earlier, right? I don't know the extent of what his heel injury is right now. Obviously, the Arizona Cardinals feel like he's not going to be productive, so they're going to shut him down. But in the grand scheme of things, he needs to worry about his future. He needs to worry about him getting fully healthy, and he needs to worry about free agency, because I don't think it's going to be here with the Cardinals. I truly don't. I think the Cardinals are doing him a solid and saying, we're not going to play you, right? We're going to shut you down. You heal up. And if you're back with the Cardinals, obviously that's not a decision or I guess it's not a full decision from Jonathan Gannon. His input is very valuable, especially if he's the head coach heading into the 2024 season, which most likely he will be. But it is going to be the decision of Monty Ossenfort and this rest of this front office to really figure out if Marquise is going to be, with the Cardinals moving forward. But to me, if you're going to ask me right now, would I pay Marquise Hollywood Brown? Or let me ask you guys in the chat here, right? Chat, let me know here in the chat. Would you pay Marquise Hollywood Brown upwards of 15, 17, 18 million dollars? Because although, yes, he's not a number one wide receiver, and yeah, he's not going to get paid A.J. Brown type of money, but in the grand scheme of things, you are going to have to pay what market kind of tells you have to pay, right? And I think if you're going to be putting Marquise Hollywood Brown, you're going to be probably forking anywhere between $17-18 million a year. And I don't know if I would want that as a Cardinal fan. We have a lot of money. Yes, we absolutely do. But I don't want to allocate a lot of money to a wide receiver that really hasn't proved very much. And on top of that, we gave up a first-round pick for this guy, right? We gave up a first-round pick for Marquise Hollywood Brown. And like I said a little earlier, yes, it's not his fault, the fact that was injured, but if he's not producing to the level of what we want him to produce, and he's not healthy, I can't justify it. I can't justify it at all. We got some people on the chat here. We have my guy Jude saying, let him walk. My other guy said from Keith says he is a giant disappointment. We got another somebody in the chat says he will work better as a wide receiver number 2. Draft Marvin Harrison Jr. But here's the thing, right? I don't think we're in a luxury spot right now. We're not in a spot right now where we can say, Marquise Hollywood Brown, you're the number 2 wide receiver, right? If we were, I don't think we would be having this conversation if he was still under contract. We don't have that luxury as Cardinal fans or as a Cardinal organization. This is literally his contract year to see if he can test the markets and, dip his toes in the free agency pool. We don't have the luxury right now because this is a contract. We no longer have him under contract. If the Arizona Cardinals feel like he's a number 2 wide receiver, what does that go for these days, right? I don't know, $10-15 million? That's still a grip of money. That's still a grip of money. If the Cardinals do draft Marvin Harrison Jr., which I understand it, right? A lot of Cardinal fans want Marvin Harrison Jr., and that's fine. To me, I don't feel like it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or bust, personally. I like him as a prospect. I think he's a generational talent as well as everybody else does. But to me, I don't feel like it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or bust. Would I want him? Heck yeah, bring him in. Yeah, let's see what he can do with Kyler Murray. But I still do think there's a lot of questions out here. I think there's a lot of questions. Whenever you Google the Arizona Cardinals, everybody has an opinion on what the Cardinals should be doing next year, right? Whether it's, keep Kyler, trade Kyler, do this with Kyler, do this with your second round overall pick, do this with your other pick, right? There's so many opinions out there. And honestly, the person who's going to make this decision is Monty Ossenfort. And I'm going to allow him to cook, and I'm going to allow him to see what he can do in this year's draft, because I'm excited about this offseason. But Marquise is obviously the name out here to really talk about, because this guy really hasn't done very much for the Cardinals when he's been here, right? When he's been here, he hasn't done very much for the Arizona Cardinals organization, because even in 2022, his first year with the Arizona Cardinals, he did 709 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like, it's not that great, man. It's not that great. You expect this guy, especially coming out for a first round, what we gave up for, when we probably should have got a freaking center or somebody on the offensive line for Kyler. It just didn't work out for the Arizona Cardinals. It truly didn't work out for the Arizona Cardinals. Somebody on the chat says he could start for the Rattlers. Sheesh. Somebody on the chat says, I forgot we got him for a first. We definitely got to let him go. And that's the thing, right? I did see somebody have a comment saying the Arizona Cardinals would have, like, we could possibly get a compensatory pick for Marquise Hollywood Brown, but it's not going to be anything to the point where there's going to, like, move the needle. We don't really know 100% now, like, if we are going to be getting one, if we do end up letting him go. Obviously, that's logistics. That's way above my head. And if Monty knows what we can possibly get, then we're going to allow him to do his thing. But I think in the grand scheme of things here, I don't think I would bring back Marquise unless it's an absolute team friendly. This is going to be disrespectful type of deal. I wouldn't bring him back personally. I feel like the Cardinals can allocate that money to another veteran wide receiver to bring in here, whether you want to say a T. Higgins, whether the Colts do not decide to bring back Michael Pittman Jr., which I think they're going to bring him back. Like, I'm going to be real here. I think they're going to bring him back, but like, I would rather allocate that money to a big bodied wide receiver and really give this wide receiving core a facelift. This wide receiving core needs an absolute facelift. Now, would I open Marquise Hollywood Brown with open arms, right? Would I say, okay, come back? All right, that's fine. Yeah, I would, but it's got to be a team-friendly deal, right? It's got to be a 1 year, prove it. I don't want to see a multi-year deal. I don't want to be stuck with this guy. I truly don't. If it's a friendly 1 year deal, okay, I'm cool with it. And I agree. I think a second wide receiver number, or a wide receiver number 2, I've been saying this for years. Marquise is not that guy to me. We need a number 1 wide receiver. And it was really hurt that we let go of DeAndre Hopkins, because I knew production was going to be down drastically the moment that happened. But, obviously, we're building for the future. We're trying to get rid of a lot of contracts that were signed for, this whole Steve Keim era. But unless Marquise has a team-friendly deal, I don't see him coming back. I truly don't see him coming back. Philly, what's up, brother? He says, as an Eagle fan, I want to see how y'all feel about Gannon so far. Y'all liking him? That's a good question. Well, here's the thing. The Arizona Cardinal fan base and the Eagle fan base are complete polar opposites in terms of, I don't know how to describe. This is not a knock. This is not a knock. The Arizona Cardinals organization and fan base, a lot of us have in our minds that this year was a throwaway year. So it's really hard to completely really, I guess, judge Jonathan Gannon, if that makes sense. I don't mind him personally. I don't think he's my all-time favorite coach, right? But I don't think it's really hard for me to say fire him, right? Because of what this roster is. We've seen flashes of what his defense can do, but we've also seen some bad things, right? And that is going for on multiple 4th downs and kind of looking really dumb, right? Right now, I don't think Jonathan Gannon is in the hot seat, and I don't think he should be. I like him as a person, truly. I think he's a cool dude, but to me, it starts next year in terms of what I truly feel about him. And it is weird because we're a 3-win team, and we're probably only going to be a 3-win team for the rest of the season. And it's really weird because Steve Wilkes, the guy that was a one-and-done head coach for the Cardinals, was a 3-win team. So I'm curious to figure out what storylines are going to come with this whole situation, but I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything about Jonathan Gannon being a one-and-done head coach, being in the hot seat, anything like that. And to me, I don't mind him. There's some things I would love for him to clean up and fix, but I don't mind him. I know that's a long answer, but it's my politically correct answer, if that makes sense. So, let's see here. So yeah, so people in the chat, right? So JG is fine, and that's the way I feel about him as well. I think he's cool. I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? This roster is not meant to compete with anybody, so it's really hard to be a full, I guess, hard on him. I don't mind him at the end of the day. I can understand that. He's had y'all fighting and y'all beat the Cowboys, so I'm cool with it. Keep killing, man. Love the channel. Appreciate you, Philly, man. You do the same thing, man. I know you obviously cover your respective team as well in the Philadelphia Eagles, but for us, we all kind of feel like this is a throwaway year. But yeah, let's see what he does moving forward. But I appreciate you for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Let's keep it going here on the chat. Let's see. I see somebody on the chat says, I don't see this team competing or being relevant to 2025. Hope I'm wrong. Well, here's the thing, right? This is where I think I differ from a lot of Cardinal fans. If you decide to keep Kyler Murray, which if that's what Monty Ossenfort wants to do and this coaching staff wants to do, they want to keep Kyler Murray, okay, that's fine. But you better bet your bottom dollar, you better compete next year. You better compete next year, especially if you're going to be keeping a franchise quarterback that's getting paid that much money, right? If you're going to be keeping a franchise quarterback, we got the draft capital and we got the money to make this team facelifted. I'm not talking about Super Bowl, right? I'm not foolish to say, Cardinals, you better be Super Bowl bust. No. But you better bet your bottom dollar that you better be a competitive team if you decide to keep Kyler Murray. And I think right now, obviously, with what we've been hearing, there's nothing been said out there about Kyler Murray being moved off of, at least for the Arizona Cardinals side. But if you Google Kyler Murray, everybody's got an opinion on what the Cardinals should do with the second overall pick or with what they should do with Kyler Murray just moving forward in general, right? So right now, I'm trusting the process. I'm putting my faith and hopes and prayers that Monty Ossenfort is going to be able to get us out of this dumpster fire over an organization that we've been dealing with years and years and years. Please save us is what we're hoping for. But we better be competitive in 2024 if we do keep Kyler Murray. If we do keep Kyler Murray, we better be competitive. And if we are not, you're probably not going to want to be on this channel because I'm probably going to be as pissed off as I possibly can be. This year, I wasn't pissed off. I don't know if you noticed that. My reaction videos, they were very, very calm. They were very, very Bob Ross. Let me paint a picture here real quick. That's what the videos were because at the end of the day, we had Kyler Murray for 8 games. It is what it is, right? I'm going to allow them to cook. I'm going to allow them to do their thing, but we better be competitive next year if we keep Kyler. That's all I got to say. Somebody in the chat says, I have a good feeling Bears are going to stay with Fields. Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably going to go number 1. Honestly, guys, you got to be prepared. You need to be prepared for that realization that Marvin Harrison Jr. might go number 1 overall. And I get it. We haven't seen that in years and years and years. And I get it. There's going to be people out there saying, well, you want the GM to get fired from the Bears because everybody trades back. Honestly, if you truly think that Marvin Harrison Jr. is that guy and is going to elevate Justin Fields, to me, I would get him. I would get him if I was the Bears GM. I'm not going to lie to you. We need to be fully prepared for that scenario. We got to. Unless the Bears trade out of that number 1 overall spot, there is always going to be a constant threat that they might go him number 1 overall. But what does that leave the Arizona Cardinals, right? Then we got the choice of the 2 quarterbacks, or we can trade back, which some people want that, right? I don't see the Arizona Cardinals get Olu Fashanu or a Joel O at the 2nd overall spot. No, I mean, if you want to keep Kyler, then you trade back, right? Then hopefully you get a haul at that very moment, but you will have to kind of wait in terms of TBD and what's going to happen. But you got to prepare yourselves because I'm hearing the same thing y'all hearing, that Bears fans right now don't want to move off of Justin Fields. They want to ride with them, or at least they're split. Some people want Caleb. Some people want to stay with Justin. A lot of people want Marvin Harrison Jr. But if they don't get Marvin Harrison Jr. there at number 1, the Cardinals are a serious threat. So they got to really think about what they're going to do if they want that generational talent, right? So I agree. Somebody in the chat says, who would you guys want if not Marvin Harrison Jr. at 2? If Marvin Harrison Jr. is there, I say you get him, right? I say you get him there. If the Cardinals don't want to get him and they would trade back, honestly, there's a lot of talented players in this in this draft that I really, really like. I actually released a video not too long ago, about a week or two ago. There's some wide receivers that I really like, right? Roma Dunze. I think Roma Dunze is a very, very underrated wide receiver that nobody really isn't talking about because obviously the hype of Marvin Harrison Jr. Malik Neighbors is another one out there as well that's 6 foot tall that we can obviously benefit from getting height on the wide receiving core. We can go offensive line. We can go interior defensive line. We can go cornerback. We can do anything. Like, honestly, there's no wrong answer here for the Arizona Cardinals. So to me, it's not Marvin Harrison Jr. or bust. I know there's a lot of people that feel it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or bust. I don't feel like that. But if the Cardinals decide that that's their guy, cool, bring him on. I'm excited about it. Somebody in the chat says Malik Neighbors, if not Marvin Harrison. That's fair. Somebody in the chat says trade Kyler to the Broncos for Surtain and Broncos first round pick, the 9th. Draft Caleb or May with their first pick and a wide receiving with the Broncos pick. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about, I don't know if you guys have been seeing the same thing. And I know there's a lot of Kyler Murray fans out there, right? There might be Cardinal fans as well, but there's a lot of Kyler Murray fans out there that do not want the Cardinals or anybody to even talk about can the Cardinals possibly trade. We're going to actually make a video about that a little later on. So watch out for that drop because I'm seeing a lot of different media outlets, nothing big in terms of the Ian Rappaport or Adam Schefter. And obviously whatever they say goes, but I'm hearing different possibilities, right? Obviously different scenarios. We're going to dive into that and we're going to wait for a later video drop on that. It's going to be a video, not a live stream, just FYI. So yeah, Cardinals can do anything. Cardinals can do anything. But if you're just tuning in, appreciate you guys here for tuning in. We are covering the idea that Marquise Hollywood Brown is now headed to IR, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't think he's going to be a Cardinal moving forward. I truly, truly don't think Marquise Hollywood Brown is going to be a Cardinal moving forward. If you are sad about that, I'm sorry. But also I'm not sorry at the same time because Marquise really hasn't proved that he deserves 17, 18 million dollars and to be with the Cardinals. The only thing that I have in terms of he might be back is Kyler. Literally, that's the only thing I have because they are boys, or at least we're heard or we're told that they're very close with each other, that they had the OU days. So like, that's really the only thing I can see in terms of why this regime would bring back Marquise Hollywood Brown. Because do y'all remember in the trade deadline where I dropped that video and I said there was a report that came out that said Marquise Hollywood Brown is a part of the Arizona Cardinals future? Do y'all remember that? There was a report that came out, and I forgot who was for. I think it was Diana Rossini from The Athletic, if I'm not mistaken. But she ended up coming out and saying that Marquise Hollywood Brown will not be traded in the trade deadline, and he is going to be a part of the Arizona Cardinals future. Now, please keep in mind here that that can also be, when we hear these GMs talk or anybody talk, we're talking about this year, right? We're talking about this year. He's a part of this year's future. But if the Cardinals don't feel like he is going to be moving forward, then I 100% support that because I would rather allocate that money to a T. Higgins. Truly. Give me T. Higgins. Give me T. Higgins. Give me somebody else that's a big body wide receiver, and let's give this wide receiving core a facelift. That is what we need here in the Arizona Cardinals organization. Truly. Now, let's talk about something else real quick. Let's shift because Kyler Murray, I'm not sure if you guys were aware of this. I didn't make any video about it, but if you guys don't follow my social medias, definitely follow me in my social medias because I keep you guys up to date in terms of every little thing that you might not make a video for. But Kyler Murray has been sick, right? He had the holiday bug is what Jonathan Gannon ended up saying. He had the holiday bug. So Kyler Murray hasn't been practicing for the entirety of the week except for today. He ended up coming today to practice, and Jonathan Gannon has come out and said that Kyler Murray will play against the Eagles. So we will be seeing Kyler Murray versus the Eagles. Now, whether that makes you happy, that makes you sad, that makes you excited, that makes you miserable, whatever. I'm just giving you the news. He's missed the entirety of the week with a holiday bug, and he actually showed up to practice today. And he will be a go per Jonathan Gannon against the Eagles. Just FYI. I know there's a lot of rumors out there saying that holiday bug might be the end of Kyler Murray. We might be shutting him down. Hear me when I say this, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's a really, really dumb thing to say because our roster is what it is, but the Cardinals don't want to lose. The Cardinals don't want to lose. Now, they lose because we're not good, but they don't want to lose, especially this game. Jonathan Gannon's going back to Philly. You don't know how much flack he ended up getting. So much media ended up trashing Jonathan Gannon, saying things like, you are the reason why we lost the Super Bowl, right? I think Jonathan Gannon would love to go into Philly and obviously prove a point. Do I think it's going to happen? Nah. I don't think it's going to happen. No, I don't think it's going to happen. I just hope that the Arizona Cardinals are competitive at the end of the day, but let's call it like it is. Jonathan Gannon would love the idea to go out there and get a win. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles are a far superior team over the Arizona Cardinals, if I'm going to be real with you guys. But the Cardinals don't want to lose, right? Fans think of it a different way, but those players that are in that locker room, they're fighting for their jobs, they're fighting for their livelihoods, they're fighting for, the next game day check. They're fighting to put film on tape, right? They're fighting to, they're fighting to put film out there because another team can possibly want their services. And if they go out here and they show lacklusterness, their career might be over, especially for a lot of those not big name dudes out there. So the Cardinals players don't want to lose, but this team is not built to win. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, here we are. Let's keep this here in the chat. Somebody in the chat says holding a player out because the year is done just makes bad blood. Kyler has missed most of the year and won't want to miss anymore. And I agree with that too. I agree with that as well. I think Kyler Murray wants to play, but to me, in my opinion, and I get it. It's just my opinion. I still do think that Kyler Murray is trying to obviously learn this offense as much as he can. And I'm going to keep what I've said for multiple months, or I guess multiple weeks, that this is still an evaluation period. At the end of the day, I know a lot of people feel like Kyler Murray's the guy moving forward. And to me, I don't think there has been anything out there solidly saying that Kyler Murray is in serious danger of losing his job. There's nothing been out there, or at least I haven't heard anything. But there is a level of Kyler Murray still fighting for this evaluation period to prove that he's still the guy, or why he's the guy who got paid the way he did, right? Why he was the guy to get to be the first overall pick in the NFL draft, right? So he's still trying to fight for a level of pride, maybe for himself, to me, right? That's just my kind of 2 cents on that. Somebody in the chat says, so now we are just happy that the bus makes it to the next team. Yeah, that's true. Somebody in the chat says it was a shutdown though. I'm not sure. You guys might be talking here on the chat, so I'll let you guys do your thing here on the chat. Let's see here. Did you guys see what Josh Sweat said about JG? He specifically said, we got to, yes, I did see that. And I'm telling you, we covered this on the Big Red podcast. And if you guys don't subscribe there, subscribe there. It's a different YouTube channel where me and Mythic AZ chop it up Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But today we didn't do it because we didn't get any news other than this one. But I did hear that. The players in Philly, they want to prove a point. They want to prove a point. So regardless if they're chummy, right? If they're chums with each other off the field, they want to prove a point at the end of the day. Deus with the first super chat of the day. What's up, Deus? He says, Mike, time will tell. That hashtag fire K1 sign. Let's go. Well, here's the thing. Right now, if you guys haven't followed my channel, you know how I feel about K1, right? This was a very important time period for me, or for him, to prove to the fan base and prove to this Arizona organization if he was the guy. I'm not sold on this offense. I'm not putting it all on Kyler. I'm not putting it all on Drew Petzing. I'm not putting it all on the wide receivers. I'm not putting it all on James Conner. This offense has looked not great at all. And who's usually the one that gets blamed? Quarterback, right? So there's 2 more games. And they're going to be brutal games. I'm not going to lie. They're going to be brutal games. We'll have to kind of wait and see how this all works out in the grand scheme of things. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed with how Kyler Murray looks. I'm going to be real. I don't think it's all on the wide receivers. Truly. I don't think it's all on the wide receivers. I think a lot of people have a part to play in terms of why this offense looks as bad as it does. I'm going to say quarterback, wide receivers, offensive line, Drew Petzing. It's all one. It's all one. I'm not one of those guys that says, oh, it's the wide receivers. Close your eyes. No, I think everybody doesn't look good. We got 2 more games left. I'll do an evaluation fully fully by the end of the season how I feel about Kyler Murray. But it's getting, it's getting to the point where there's a lot of Cardinal fans that just want to move off. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. Let's keep it with the chat here. You guys are having some great takes here. We got Cards fans saying crazy how the Eagles roster got better in the offseason, but the defense is performing a lot worse. Says something about Jonathan Gannon. Yeah, I mean, yeah. You can look at it that way, right? But there's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of things that gets into play, right? With football. Sometimes it's luck. Sometimes it's things going your way, right? Honestly, I do like Jonathan Gannon truly as a person. I think he's a great personality. And I do like what he has, I guess, the culture shock per DJ Humphries that he's done to the Arizona Cardinals organization. But you can culture shock as much as you want. If you're not winning games, it doesn't matter, right? Eventually, these players are going to start talking. Eventually, these players are going to stop believing in what you're saying. This year is a throwaway year. But if you keep Kyler Murray next year, you better bet your bottom dollar that you better compete because he's a franchise quarterback. He's getting paid like it. It's just the way I like to look at it. Somebody in the chat, what's up, Deus? It says Elway was horrible his first year too, so Tune should wear that as a badge of honor. And that, I guess I'm talking about Clay and Tune. See, here's the thing. I don't think Kyler Murray will be benched for Tune. I don't think Kyler Murray will be shut down because Kyler Murray still has something to fight for, and that is he wants to prove why he was taken first overall, why he got the contract. I know a lot of people don't believe it, but Kyler Murray is a competitor. Kyler Murray wants to be on the field with this team, right? He wants to be out there. I do not see a world where the Arizona Cardinals say, unless Kyler gets hurt, right? Unless Kyler Murray gets hurt, we won't see Clay and Tune this year, in my opinion. I think it's very important for this Arizona organization to really evaluate Kyler Murray. If that makes sense. Don't take any reps from him because you need to see it. You need to see it. Somebody in the chat says, would you guys trade Kyler Murray for Baker Mayfield? We got a Bucks guy in the... To me, no. And I like Baker. I love Baker Mayfield. I like his attitude. I like the way he carries himself. I like everything about Baker Mayfield. I truly do. But if you're going to move off of Kyler, if the Cardinals do, you got to start back up from the bottom. You have to. Because there's no point in going from a guy that's obviously getting paid top tier level to a guy that's probably going to get, obviously Baker, I don't think is going to get top tier money, but he's also not going to get chump change, right? If you go to a different route of a quarterback, you got to go a young guy. You got to go a rookie because we need to reset if that's what the Cardinals decide to do. So I wouldn't trade it, although I like Baker Mayfield. I wouldn't do it because I feel like the Cardinals, if they're going to rebuild, do it right? Do it right. Don't half-ass it. I've said this multiple times. Don't half-ass it. But that's just kind of how I feel about it. Let's see here. Again, it's a 53-man roster, yet K1 is still the only scapegoat. Why? So, well, here's the thing. I'm not sure if you're saying, and it's a great question. Keep in mind that when you are blaming something on somebody, it's because you kind of went through the list already, right? There's only so many things you can say from a franchise quarterback. And hear me well, franchise, right? Franchise quarterback is the key word here. There's only so many things and so many excuses that I can put out there when a guy doesn't perform, right? To the level that you hope that he's going to be. I don't think Kyler Murray is garbage. I don't think Kyler Murray is the terrible. No, I don't think Kyler Murray. I think Kyler Murray is a very good quarterback. I truly do. But do I feel like Kyler Murray is going to get us a Super Bowl? That's the key, right? Is he going to be able to get us a consistent, get us out of this division bottom dweller type of thing? Is he going to be able to do that consistently? Is he going to get us a Super Bowl? That's the big question out there. And I think that's what people aren't really seeing is that they're saying to themselves, Kyler Murray is top 15 quarterback in this NFL. And I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think Kyler Murray is top 15. But if you really look at it, look at all the other quarterbacks. There's so many bad quarterback play in the NFL. That's not Kyler Murray's fault. And I agree with you there. That's not Kyler Murray's fault at all. I think Kyler Murray is top quarterback in the NFL. I agree with that. But that's because we have terrible quarterback play in the NFL. We got bad quarterback play in the NFL right now. With what Kyler Murray has done, it's hard for me to not look at a Jordan Love. It's hard for me to not look at a different team out there that has a mediocre quarterback and still wielding his team to do something, right? I didn't expect Kyler Murray to go 8-0. I did not expect Kyler Murray to go 8-0, but what I did expect is for Kyler Murray to run this offense in a level that's I felt confident moving forward. 8 games is a lot. 8 games is a sample size that most people don't get. Clayton Tune didn't get that. You know what I mean? 8 games is a great sample size in terms of what you feel like is going to happen. Do I feel like Kyler Murray is going to get moved off of? I don't think he's going to. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to roll with them because it's easier. It's easier to roll with them. A, the contract, it might be really hard to move. And B, Kyler Murray, if they feel like he's better than the other quarterbacks in the draft, then that's fine. That's cool. I mean, we're going to roll with them. But we can't sit here and say Kyler Murray is looking all time, right? We can't. At least I'm not going to come out here and say that. So we'll see. We'll see. Right now, we are, at the end of the day, Cardinal fans, whether you're pro Kyler or not pro Kyler, right? We just want to win at the end of the day. Win cures all. Win cures all. Once the draft gets here and whoever we draft, I almost promise you, everybody's going to be like, okay, I'm going to get on board with that. Whether it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or we trade back in, right? I'm pretty sure most Cardinal fans will be like, okay, they're going to try to find the silver lining at the end of the tunnel. We just want to win. That's it. We just want to win. That's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys here for tuning in. And I get it, man. This year is as bad as it gets. It is bad. This is a bad year for Cardinal fans. I know a lot of Cardinal fans that haven't tuned in. They told me, they send me DMs on my social media, said, hey, I haven't watched a video from you for a very long time. Cardinals are booty. Cardinals suck. I don't want to hear anything about the Cardinals. There's a lot of portions of the fan base that feels like that right now. And I don't blame y'all. So just to recap here, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys haven't already hit the smacking the like button, definitely do me that huge favor right now. Smack that like button up. Do it for the algorithm. But with what we did today was we basically talked about Marquise Hollywood Brown now being moved to IR and done for the 2023 season. We dived about who I feel like is going to be, or do I feel like Marquise is going to stay as an Arizona Cardinal moving forward, or do I want him? We covered that a little earlier in the stream. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close up shop. We're going to be releasing a video a little later on today because we're hearing a lot of outlet media out there pertaining to like your Sports Illustrated, stuff like that. We're hearing people with the possibility of maybe the Cardinals can possibly trade Kyler. I don't know, right? Obviously, with what we have going on right now, this is the time period of we're trying to ramp up for the offseason. You're going to have a lot of people talking. Especially because we're sitting at the second overall spot here in the NFL draft. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be closing up shop. I appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. Stay tuned. Make sure you have your post notification bell on. We will be dropping another video later on today talking about Kyler Murray and with basically what we're seeing here in the interweb. All right, y'all. Have a great rest of your day as always. Hopefully, you guys had a blessed, great holiday. We're going to be closing up shop here. Have a great rest of your day. And